What's going on, Genius Nation? Welcome to another magnificent day, Saturday morning. Hope that you are doing well wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Daily Genius. I am Dr. Will here in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. So wherever you are, I hope that your Saturday is off to a magnificent start. So let's get into it. Today, is Saturday, and as we go through these videos, and as we go through this 365-day journey, a lot of it is going to be repetitious. Why? Because that's what success is. Success is doing the right things repeatedly. That's what success is, doing the right things repeatedly. So, on Saturday, we have dubbed Saturday as our review day. So we look at and go back and look at our week, right? And I told you that you need to rewind, you need to review, and then you need to repair anything that you didn't do correctly over the week. So going into the new week, you don't have the same situation. So what we like to do is, once again, we're going to rewind today and look at our week. What did we do right? What didn't we do right? Where were we hitting it? Where did we hit the mark? Where did we miss the mark? And then we want to correct that for the week going forward. And so today, though, I wanted to share with you three things that really changed my life. I want to share with you three things that really changed my life. And I believe if you haven't implemented these into your life, by implementing them into your life, it'll change your life as well. So let's talk about it. So the first thing that really transformed my life was becoming an avid reader. Becoming an avid reader. It literally has transformed my life. I remember years ago, I read this article by Jim Rohn. And as a matter of fact, it wasn't an article from Jim Rohn. It was an article. I'm trying to think, because I literally just about a month ago reached out to this lady. And I can't remember now if she was sharing the article. I think she was sharing the article, and it was from Jim Rohn, because I just reached out to her. I found literally the actual article. The document is like 25 years old. And this lady is in Germany, and I was living in Germany at the time. And I just recently reached out to her to thank her for that article. But anyways, it was an article about Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn, in the article, he was talking about the power of reading. He was talking about the power of reading. And he began to talk about how after the average individual leaves high school, they don't read a book. And then he said, for people who do read books, it was something like the average person would read maybe one book a year or something like that. But he began to explain in this article, he said, if you wanted to be above average, you would need to read one book a month. One book a month, that would put you at 12 books a year. He says that's if you wanted to be above average. He says if you want to start really getting good, and this is talking about specific reading, right? If you're a leader, reading leadership books, reading meaningful books, things that's really going to help you, not so much love romances and novels and things like that, but targeted reading, personal development books, things like that. So he says if you wanted to be above average, then you wanted to read two books a month. That would be 24 a year. He said if you really wanted to become an expert in your field, read 3 books a month. And then he said, if you want to be world class, read 4 books a month. That would be 48 books a year. And at this time, I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I want to be world class. So I'm going to start reading 4 books a month. I'm going to start reading 4 books a month, 1 book a week. And so I started doing that. And I did that for a little over 10 years. I would read at least 4 books a month, and sometimes even more. Books are different sizes, but I became an avid reader. And one of the things that reading did for me, it began to expand my horizon. And when I began to read, I believe this was in the article, or I read this somewhere else about reading. When you read a book, what has happened is a person, once again, if you're reading targeted books, a person has gotten information around an idea, or they have information around a subject, or they have information that they're sharing because of an experience. And when they write that book and you now read that book, you now have the benefit of their journey, the benefit of their knowledge. And so if it's a specific book, The Power of Meditation, and a particular person has studied the art of meditation and the benefits of meditation, and you read that book, well, you don't have to go back and study the art and the power of meditation. You can just take that wisdom, right? And so it began to explain that every time you read a book, you were grabbing someone else's wisdom, experience, and knowledge, and now it's yours. And so now you know what you know, and now you know what they know. And every time you read a book, that was the thing. You now know what they know, you know what you know, and you merge it together. And so now you read another book, you know what this person knows, you know what that person knows, now you know what you know. And it's just a domino effect, right? It's a snowball effect of you gaining all of this wisdom and knowledge and perspective. And that's what reading books has done for me over the years. Like, it's literally exactly what Jim Rohn has said. Because of my reading and my accumulation of all this knowledge and wisdom, I have literally traveled. He said you would be world class, and I have literally traveled all around the world, 50 different countries. I've lived in 5 different countries, and I believe this is possible because I have such a wide perspective. I have such a global perspective. My mind has been able to expand because of reading, and so I see the world totally different. And so opportunities come to me that would not come to the average person, because they wouldn't be able to grasp it because their perspective isn't wide enough. And so I challenge each of you to become an avid reader. And I know reading is not one of those activities that's fun. And even though I'm an avid reader, this is going to be weird, right? Even though I'm an avid reader, I don't necessarily love reading. I just love the results of reading. I don't love reading. I don't love reading, but I'm so in love with the results of reading, I keep doing it. Does that make sense? I just keep doing it. It's not like I just, let me go read a book. It's not that, because I still have to fight even now to grab the book. But once I grab it and I get into it, I remember what it's going to do for me. I know at the end of reading this book, I'm going to be a lot smarter. I'm going to be a lot wiser. So that's number 1 out of the 3 things. Number 1, reading. Number two, I became an avid thinker. Now, this may sound weird, like everybody thinks, but when I talk about becoming an avid thinker, I'm intentional about my thinking. Like, literally, I give times throughout my day just to thinking. There's a proverb that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And so I give a lot of time to thinking. There's another book by the name of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And every January, I start off my year with that book, Think and Grow Rich. And then 2 times out the year, I'm a part of a mastermind that specifically goes into deep detail about that book, Think and Grow Rich, because thinking, it's so powerful. Like thinking is one of those tools, one of those game-changing tools. And so when you think and you direct your thoughts, in the Bible, it says, now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or think. Now unto him that is able, Ephesians 3:20, now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask and think. So going back to reading expands my mind, expands my horizons to even know what to ask, right? If you don't explore, then you're limited to just what you see. You're just limited to what you see. And so you can ask God for anything. But if you're limited to just what you see right in front of you, you won't even know. I'll give you an example. Growing up, like the majority of the places that I've been in my life, I didn't even know they existed. When I grew up in Compton, for the first 19 years of my life, I didn't go more than 25 miles outside of Compton. So that was my range of thought. That was my range of experiences. So a lot of the places, Ghana, I didn't know Ghana existed. I didn't know Nigeria existed. I didn't know the places I've been in India existed. I didn't even know Germany existed. I didn't know St. Martin existed, and all the other places that I've been. I didn't know that they existed. So if you would have asked me to write down at that time, where would you want to live? Where would you want to travel to? My list would have been so limited. I don't even think it would have went outside of, the United States. I may have wrote down maybe just because I knew about New York. I have family. That's where my family's originally from, New York. So I may have said, okay, go to New York. Because I've heard about Florida, I may say write down, go about Florida. But that list of travel would have been so limited, right? Because of my exposure, right? Because of my exposure. And so when it comes to thinking, that's why reading is so important, so it can take you beyond yourself. Thinking has become so important, because if he's able to do more than you can ask or think, then man, you should be thinking really big. You should be thinking really expansive. You should really be if he's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or think, then man, how should you be thinking? What should you be thinking about? You may be cheating yourself. You may be cheating yourself with how you're thinking. And so make thinking a huge practice, but help your thinking by exploring, by reading, by stretching yourself. One of the things that I like to do to help me think and expand my mind is I'll go to Google and I'll just search something like best places to vacation, best beaches in the world. And it'll show me all these other places that, I've never heard of, I've never been to before, that now, I can start thinking about that. The next time I want to go on vacation, I want to go to this place. Because once again, he can do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or think. Your thinking just gives him a starting place. So number one, read. Number two, think. And then the third thing that has literally changed my life is taking action. Being a doer, right? Being a doer. You don't want to get stuck in that just thinking realm or that reading realm, but where the rubber really meets the road is taking action. And so many people, they don't take action. Some people don't even read, they don't even think. But then there's those who read and think, but then they get stuck with just thinking about it, and never doing, never taking action. What's really going to change your life is when you take action. When you take action, that's when everything starts to change for you. When you start doing. Another scripture says, don't only be a hearer of the word, be a doer of the word. Another scripture says, faith without work is dead. So you got to get to doing. That's where all the magic happens. That's where all the real learning occurs. I always tell my clients, listen, we can talk about swimming all day long, and I can tell you how the water feels, and I can tell you what you're supposed to do with your legs and your arms, but until you get in that water, until you jump in that water, nothing matters. We can talk, we can be on the side of the pool all day long and talk, but until you get in that water, that's where all the magic happens. And so taking action, literally, whether I know fully what I'm doing, or if I'm learning as I go, my thing is I'm just going to take action. There's so much learning that occurs by just doing something. So these three things literally have revolutionized and transformed my life: reading, thinking, and taking action. So that's what I leave with you on this Saturday. Go out there and have an amazing day, whatever you got planned. I hope it brings a smile to your face, and I'll see you right back here for the Daily Genius on tomorrow. All right, guys, go out there and enjoy your day. Talk to you later.